Emerging from a cloud of black walnut sawdust, this episode of Solo in the Shop is all about how setting annual and quarterly goals can help keep you on track and grow your small business. Whether you are a hobbyist, weekend warrior, making commissions for friends and family, or already a full-time maker, if you are solo in your shop, this is the show for you. I'm Ronald Lowe's, the host of Solo in the Shop, a woodworking podcast discussing everything from current projects, tools and techniques, decisions around running a small business, and much more. So if you frequently find yourself alone and covered in sawdust, follow my journey and we can be solo in the shop together. When I started a small business in my shop, I didn't imagine there would be much cross-pollination from my corporate days. Alas, there have been many. Besides taxes and accounting, expense tracking, and business credit cards, I've found that one important topic that is particularly valuable is goal setting. I feel lucky that there will not be any sensitivity training, insider trading sessions, or mandatory company meetings to talk about ethics and compliance, but goal setting has a place in my small business. And here's why. First, it sets direction and focus. Setting goals provides small business owners with a clear direction and focus for their efforts. It helps them prioritize tasks and allocate resources effectively, ensuring that every action aligns with the overarching objectives of the business. Working aimlessly towards happiness and satisfaction is not a plan that informs your short-term actions. Having a tangible, measurable set of goals for your business can direct decision-making pretty much daily. I encourage you to have goals written out. Even just a bulleted list is fine, so you can refer to them frequently. As tasks and opportunities come up, view them in the context of these goals. This sets you up to keep your business moving towards those goals. Secondly, is measuring your progress and performance. All your annual goals serve as a benchmark for measuring the progress and performance of the business. The corporate world is focused lately on the idea of setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound SMART goals. Owners can track their accomplishments and identify areas for improvement using these goals. It might be overkill for those of us who are solo in the shop, but whatever the goals you want to reach, they should at least be measurable. It's hard to quantify feelings of satisfaction and joy, but financial goals, sales, projects, and skill are all easy to assess. Thirdly is motivation and accountability. Your goals will motivate you to strive for success. By setting ambitious yet attainable goals, we are more likely to stay motivated and committed to our work. Additionally, goals create a sense of accountability. As the owners, we are responsible for achieving the objectives we've set. Lastly, goals are great for strategic planning and adaptation. Setting goals facilitate strategic planning and adaptation in response to changing market conditions and business environments. It allows us to identify opportunities and challenges, develop action plans, and adjust our strategy accordingly to stay competitive and achieve long-term growth. I have some recent experience with this that I will discuss in just a few minutes. It's hard to maintain effort on annual goals for 12 whole months. Like any complex problem, it makes sense to break this into smaller parts. It can be useful to imagine what 4 changes need to happen incrementally to reach your annual goal and assign each of these to a quarter. For example, I have an overreaching goal in my shop to grow to $10,000 per month in furniture sales. I doubt that I could just put that out in the universe and expect it to happen. Instead, I've considered factors that I feel would get me to that magic number. These include producing and publicizing 4 quality projects each month to establish consistency and reputation, working with businesses more often, improving my visibility and activity on social media to increase awareness of my business, and expanding my confidence and competence with diverse techniques and skills. I have earmarked each quarter this year to tackling each of these in a way that promotes the idea of reaching a goal in a way that backsliding doesn't happen. I don't want to reach 4 projects in a month and start focusing on B2B sales only to slip back to having 2 projects on the bench. With these goals in mind, it now makes sense to review and assess my progress every 90 days. Reviewing your annual goals quarterly offers several benefits for those of us in the small workshop business. The first is course correction. Quarterly reviews allow businesses to assess their progress towards annual goals and identify any deviations from the original plan. By reviewing goals more frequently, businesses can quickly course correct, address any issues, and reallocate resources and effort as needed to stay on track. Goals can't be so rigid that you pursue them when things change. As the captain of your own ship, you need to recognize patterns and conditions that impact you and make smart decisions to keep your business healthy. Second, adaptation to changing conditions. The business environment is dynamic with market conditions, consumer preferences, and competitors constantly evolving. Quarterly reviews provide opportunities to evaluate whether annual goals remain relevant and adjust them in response to changing conditions, ensuring that your business remains agile and adaptable. Recently, I've experienced this twice in my own business. The first was when I realized that I didn't want to do markets and craft shows any longer. It was a lot of work for very hit or miss selling, and I was constantly under pressure to produce household items like cutting boards and coasters that were stealing time and resources from building a furniture business. The second was seeing that there was local interest in point-of-sale counters and reception desks. That matched up very well with my existing table work without needing to re-outfit my shop. I am set up to make tables, but I do not have the space to pivot and become a cabinet shop or a chair maker. But these retail items were definitely something I could add to my offerings. Thirdly is celebrating success. A quarterly review provides an opportunity to celebrate achievements and milestones reached during the quarter. Recognizing and celebrating success can boost your morale, motivation, and confidence, reinforcing your commitment to its goal and objectives. So each quarter when I review, I ask myself several questions. And I need to give credit to these questions to Desi Cresswell of the Interior Design CEO podcast. I'll leave a link to her show in my show notes for sure. She presented essentially these questions in a recent episode, and they dovetail so perfectly with my goal-setting topic that I wanted to paraphrase and frame them in the context of our creative efforts. The first question is, what were my goals for this quarter? You need to know specifically how are you going to evaluate this quarter. It could be strictly financial, but even that may be too broad. Perhaps you've set expectations to improve your marketing effort, learn new skills and techniques, participate on social media, a topic for a future podcast, or maybe you want to earn more 5-star reviews. You can evaluate the quarter in almost any way, just make sure it's something where you can measure. Being happy and fulfilled is a great goal, but it's not quantifiable, so not a great yardstick for this exercise. The second question is, looking at my goals for the past quarter, what tasks did I meet or exceed, and what contributed to this success? You want to identify things from the last 3 months that made you feel good, proud, confident, and successful. These do not need to be earth-shattering, life-altering achievements. Nothing promotes growth and success like a series of small victories. So it's important to set goals that move you and your career forward while still following a path of small improvements. You and your company's benefit every day you feel good about yourself, so make that easy. The third question is similar to the second. What gaps were there between your goals and reality? What things within your control could you have changed to achieve a better result? This is not an invitation to blame anyone else for these gaps. Own your own outcome. And with that in mind, consider how anything that went wrong could have been salvaged by your own actions. This hits home for me because, as this quarter ended, I had an expensive catastrophe happen. I was taking a granite slab to a customer to install on the checkout counter I made when it tipped and shattered in the back of my truck. I was heartbroken, but after a day's reflection, I realized that I could learn from this and create a much more secure way to transport stone. I also learned that rushing to do something myself was a false savings. The stone people have worked out how to deliver and install stone countertops for years. Next time, my preference will be to work with them to deliver and install the top. The last question is, if I imagine that I've reached my annual goals, what does that mean about what I must be doing differently compared to today? This means you have to consider what your future self is doing to have reached these goals. There must be a future you that is capable of reaching these goals, and the difference between that person and you today speaks to the changes that need to happen. When? Well, the obvious answer is soon, but how about making strides in the next 90 days? 3 months is a manageable time frame to build consistency. Imagine making 1 change a month. 90 days equals 3 changes. That can be 3 steps towards the future you that is reaching your goals. As I'm recording this, the first quarter has just ended, and I will share some of my thoughts about how I'm doing. I don't expect that my goals and accomplishments will be the same as yours, but maybe this insight can inform some of your own introspection and goal setting. Firstly, I have a modest annual goal that is financial, but more importantly, I have goals to generate a given amount of sales while keeping my work hours reasonable. Making furniture is a second career for me, and it needs to be enjoyable and not a burden on me or my family. My first quarterly goal was to get 4 projects a month for 3 months. I didn't reach that, but I exceeded 4 projects in each of the last 2 months. I feel that's a win. And I fell a little short in January. I feel very satisfied that this goal is doable because of the last couple months. In fact, I was beginning to think I would need to ramp up my marketing efforts soon, but the inquiries have been very consistent and I am plenty busy for the foreseeable future. Jumping forward, the future me that has reached my annual goals is different from me today in a couple important ways. Firstly, I have a long-term goal to improve my consistency on social media. I do not need the attention of 1 million adoring fans, but I do put some value on social media as a tool for marketing my products, establishing my credibility as a skilled maker, and connecting with other creators who, I have found, eagerly share their knowledge, experience, skill, and time. For me, using social media consistently means periodically sharing both behind-the-scenes activity from the shop and delivered, finished work. It also means spending some time, almost daily, finding work from other makers and liking and commenting and sharing their work. This is a sure method to express gratitude and, at the same time, build an ever-expanding network of real people building cool stuff. Today me is inconsistent, and the change I envision is dedicating a window of time almost daily to focus on social media participation. Future me is also better with hand tools, but I'm not sure how to measure that yet. So hopefully I have motivated you to set some goals and reflect on where you are in your business and where you want to get to. And you can start thinking about breaking that down into manageable, measurable pieces. I think you and your business will benefit from this exercise. That's all I have for you this time. I look forward to talking to you again soon. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to reach out to me at solointheshop@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you got value from it and would like to help the show grow, I'd appreciate a review wherever you listen. Be sure to check the show notes for links to my socials or any extra stuff we discussed today. Until next time, stay safe in your shop, and we'll talk again soon.